Water cooler.
Ba, 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 da.
Water cooler.
Ba, 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 ba. Gobble, gobble. Hey, welcome to Water Cooler. Oh, yeah, happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. I know. It's the beginning of Thanksgiving week. Everybody already has their drumstick out the door. They're not working. They just want to relax. They just want to they're getting ready for their food comas. I'm with you. I'm pre-comaing it up too. So, it's a wonderful mindset to be in. Just nothing else matters. Like this week, nothing matters, and it's beautiful. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. We're happy to do another pod for you, and give you something to some people to hang out with. Because look, you're going to be sitting around at a Thanksgiving table, talking about things typically that you don't want to be talking about with people that you really have a ton of conversations with, and so things might get a little heated. Well, not here, baby. This is a good place. This is a good place for you, and we got your back. So just sit back and listen to us argue. All right. Anyway, you know how the show goes. I, Chris Lux, I'm gonna kick it with my former Corolla Digital OGs of yesteryear. With me today, all the way in Austin, Texas, it's Matt Fondelier.
Wait, give me a second. Hey, brother.
Hey, Matt. Nobody's gonna get that. Like that's.
I got it.
Yeah,
and I'm delighted by it.
You're delighted by it.
I am delighted by it.
That's really all that matters in this time of thankfulness. Thank you, Gary.
No,
I'm thankful for you and your jokes, Matt.
Thank
you.
You're right. I was wrong. See, when you confuse our audience, I usually don't think that's a smart move, but
in the
I guess
opening minutes of the show.
But I think we shall. And then that other voice you heard all the way in Orange County, California, it's Gary Smith.
Sup, nerdles?
Oh,
yeah.
Nerdle. This is the Nerdle group chat right here. No Kalen today or Dawson. It is Thanksgiving week, as we said. So Kalen, I think, is already getting started on his stuffing that he's going to commandeer and just and withhold from the rest of the party on Thanksgiving as he cooks his own personal stuffing and then just sits in his corner and eats it by himself.
And then I think Dawson told us he was driving to the bar area.
He did.
I think maybe he meant Bay Area. It's unclear, but he's not here.
Dawson, it could be either
it
one.
Could be, yeah, they're both equally believable. So we don't know. Nobody corrected him, which is interesting too in the group chat. Bar area. All right.
Sorry. By the way, speaking of group chats, as we are recording this, there is a active family group chat talking about Thanksgiving with my family. And my father, I have to give him props, just asked if my 18-year-old nephew is ready for his speech on Thursday. And he is now terrified. And my father is running this bit that because he turned 18 this year, that everyone in the family has to give a speech at the first Thanksgiving that they're a proper adult. And I am freaking dying. It is so funny.
Well, this could be a thing that turns into an actual tradition.
It could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hopefully it works out. And you should help him.
My nephew, by the way, has not said a thing in this group chat in 4 months. And as soon as my father said, "Is Cameron ready for his speech?" he just jumps into the chat and goes, "Speech with 3 question marks." This is just freaking epic level trolling. So producer Laura Lee, tell your husband I approve, and I'm very impressed.
We all approve. And yeah, you should help him get his first draft. And,
that's exactly who he wants advice from. Is his annoying uncle.
I don't know. People will take any help when they're nervous about speaking like that. You'd be surprised. Now, So this episode that we're recording today, it's episode 460, also known as 69 plus 69 plus 69 plus 69 plus 69 plus 69 plus 46, which is kind of interesting.
I've got to say, Chris, I retract everything I said before we started recording about your math. I am now squarely in favor of you doing math before these episodes.
Thank you.
I'm thankful for you and your math, Chris.
It's the way I count.
Why is the plus 46?
Because this is episode 460.
Yeah, so it's weird how that math lines up.
Wow.
Or this could be simulation. I did see a Cybertruck drive by the other day, and
yes.
And for those who didn't hear our Patreon episode last week, I'm convinced that Cybertrucks are just an 8-bit car because our graphics card is overloaded in the simulation. So whenever we see Cybertrucks, they're just It's just getting relief from all the processing that is happening right now because there's a lot going on.
I got to say, this ties in with the things that I wanted to talk about in News Nook, because what you may also recall from that episode is you went on this tangent about your 8-bit theory, and then Mike Dawson reached off camera and pulled out an eighth of weed that he had just purchased that was called 8-bit.
Yeah,
Now,
it was actually a vape, but it came from the company 8-Bit Buds.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But here's the thing. Dawson has like 45 vapes in front of him at once. So I mean, you could say anything. Like I could say,
That's
green
exactly
elephant. It's like, oh, dude, green elephant. I just got one of those.
It's a
vapes
killer
right here.
indica, man. It stomps on you like an elephant.
Yeah. So it's just, you never know.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man. Well,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to this because I do have several thoughts on some synchronicities of late that I want to tell you guys about.
We will. Gary and I hung out this weekend.
Yes, we did.
We
It was,
played a nice scramble tourney.
You know what a scramble is, Matt?
It's a delicious way to prepare eggs. Typically a little bit of cheese, maybe some slices of ham or bacon if you're feeling a little salty.
Or chorizo if you're south of the border.
Sure. Ole.
Yeah.
Am I
No,
close?
what I'm referring to, I mean, you're right. It's you can be right and wrong at the same time in this case, because the scramble
Story
is
of my life, Gary.
Scramble is a format of playing golf, and it is one of my favorites because every person in the foursome hits the first ball, and then you pick the best one, and then everyone picks up their shot and goes and hits it from there. So at the end of it, you get all four of you are getting a score. So it's a lot easier to get a par or even the occasional birdie when you've got 4 shots at every single attempt.
Yeah.
That sounds like best ball. Is that different?
Basically
really.
the same. Yeah.
It's basically the same.
Okay.
So yeah, we had 4 groups. Gary was in my group. We had a good old time. We opened it up with a birdie, which we were feeling pretty nice at that point. And then all downhill after that. But still, we got there.
I blame the rain. I think the rain really kind of screwed us up.
I blame the rain. Gary loading up one of our partners with Zin, and whilst he was drinking a lot of alcohol as well, he was a mess by the end of it. So to say the least,
by the end of it, there was a member of our foursome who I think we can definitively say was the weakest link. Very nice guy, but might have overindulged a little bit.
What is the dynamic like with you guys on the course? First of all, is it a golf cart? Are you walking? If it's a cart, who's driving?
I drove.
You know, they didn't card you, Chris? That was pretty impressive.
Why would they card me?
Just
That was
make sure
rude,
you're of
Matt.
age.
That was rude.
Sorry.
No, Chris, we it's different every time, to be honest with you, Matt. Last time I played with Chris, we walked. This time we drove, which is just standard decorum for a scramble. When you've got 16 people, you need to sort of keep it moving. So you should drive a cart. There were a few in the groups ahead of us. I discovered at the end that were not. They were walking, which explains why it took 5.5 or 6 hours.
It's a long round.
It was a long day. But Chris drove. I
drove. The groups in front of us drove, and like we would all pile up at the par 3s. So a lot of soju being poured and passed back.
Yep.
Anybody getting upset? Or is everyone keeping a level head? Because when I used to play golf, I just would get upset, and I was like, "This isn't fun." But I
will
wonder.
say there were a few clubs thrown on the 18th. Towards the end,
Not by Gary or me.
No.
Okay,
no.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, but
No,
guys.
Chris and I were having fun, and I think just enjoying getting that. That's Chris and I don't get a lot of time to spend together. So these days when we golf, like we kind of got to pack all of our non-podcast time into that. So we were just having fun, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good time.
It
was all of Chris's friends, so I was invited kind of as an outsider, and I was very pleased to be included. I mean, I know a lot of his friends now, and it was really fun to see everyone. But yeah, we had a grand old time.
It was an amazing time.
Nice.
Yeah, and then
Jealous.
and you should be jealous. So because the next day was
I'm jealous of this part.
Yeah, do you know what happened, Gary?
I know that I was invited to join you and Kaylin to go see the new Gladiator movie in theaters.
Oh, shit.
So it was my
Unfortunately-
birthday. Yeah, it was my birthday last week.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, buddy. Finally, guys.
Hey, it didn't take me that long.
No, I will say, Gary Gary sent me the 12:01 a.m. text on my birthday. Matt sent me a birthday message in every group chat that we're in. So I felt the love. I felt the love regardless. In any way that it was sent out.
I thought the copy paste was lazy, but whatever.
It wasn't a copy paste. I typed "Happy Birthday, Chris" letter at a time, all 3 times.
I know. I saw. If you
times.
look really closely, it's actually handwritten. You can see the vowels are different. So on my birthday, Kaylin's like, Chris, this is what we're doing for your birthday. Let's go watch Gladiator 2 in theaters on me, IMAX at this theater that we watched Knives Out in together. And I thought about it. I was like, I have not seen a movie since my kid was born. Like in the theaters, I mean. Like I just haven't gone out to see it. Geez, I don't even it's been a minute since I've been
Sounds
out
like
in the
this
theaters.
kid of yours is really fucking up your life, man.
He's just kind of he's just kind of a drag.
Yeah.
You know?
They're needy.
They're too needy. No, I honestly can't wait till I could bring him to watch like a movie one day in the theaters and watch a kids movie or something. I like kids movies too. But so Kaylin asked me, he texted me, like, we're watching Gladiator. I got us go make sure it's cool with Jen. I got the tickets and we're just gonna do like a matinee, 11 a.m. But either way,
Gentleman's screening.
Yeah. A gentleman's screening, low pressure, low stakes. I don't need
Maybe some steaks afterward.
Hey, it is lunchtime. Yeah, and there's all these places in that area too that I've always wanted to take Kaylin for lunch. So this is all gonna work out wonderfully. So I wake up, I'm so excited. What?
I don't know. The way you're saying this is all going to work out wonderfully has an ominous tone to it.
Oh, funny. So I wake up. I'm really excited to go. I see some chores around the house that need to be done, and I'm kind of just like, I wonder if I can just stretch it out to where I can just slip out before I have to do any of these things, and then I come back.
It's your birthday.
It's my birthday. But anyway, so I'm getting ready, and I get a text from Kaylin. And he just goes, I'll read it to you. I'm just going to read you a text from Kaylin. And I do want to...
Is this text talk?
It's text talk. Well, I just want to make sure I get this right. His text was, I'm an idiot. I just realized. Sorry, man. And then he sent me a screenshot of the Gladiator 2 screening for the Arizona Mills 18 with IMAX.
Dude, you have to leave like yesterday.
I responded, I don't think we're going to make it on time. And maybe we should carpool. So needless to say, I was not entertained.
Oh no.
I am so glad that I did not say yes to this and then burn all the capital with my wife only to not have it happen.
And then,
oh my goodness.
So I'm looking at this, and then I go, well, I'll just get tickets to a theater by us. Sold out everywhere. Sold out everywhere. Like I thought Wicked was
Sunday morning?
Yeah, dude. I thought Wicked was the hot ticket.
It is.
Which it is, yeah. But Gladiator 2, like only single seats. Or if you want to sit front row.
Were you being precious about IMAX, or
No.
did we expand it?
I went to multiple theaters. They were all just single, like they were packed. They were packed for this. Yeah. So the
Denzel effect.
The Denzel effect. And then so I go to Jen, I'm like, oh, you got tickets for Arizona. And then there's a slight conversation of how, why, how does this?
There's several screens to review the details,
Very, very fair questions. Both how and why are wildly reasonable.
And then Jen just goes, oh well, good thing you're gonna be home then, because we got a lot of chores to take care of. And I'm just looking around like, no. And
should have told her no. We're going to see Wicked.
Yeah, had a great day. Had a great day of but spending time with my family though, regardless. But yeah, I did not see Gladiator 2. Neither did Kaylin.
Oh,
so you will not hear flicking unless you went and watched it on its own. And these tickets aren't refundable, so that's probably like $50 down the drain for Caleb.
What if
which
he
sucks.
told you? What if he came back and told you that he did see it, but he got one of those single seats, and he was like, "I figured it would just be easier this way."
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's good for him.
Yeah,
And I look forward to.
that's-
I look forward to his movie review, but
Now, did we consider getting 2 single seats and just not sitting next to each other? Because it is a
That's
movie.
what I'm
after
wondering.
all.
Yeah.
that is an interesting point, Gary, because you're right. I don't need to sit next to
You
the
guys can
person
still
I'm
go to
with.
lunch and discuss it after.
Like, we're not-
if you're
yeah,
the
we-
same Peter.
We're not like we don't need to touch arms or touch legs while we're watching.
I mean, it is a bonus.
Hello.
It is a good time. Yeah.
I mean, if it was a scary movie, I could understand that you guys need to like huddle together.
Yeah, more.
But you know,
right.
a movie like that, come on. It's
You're right.
action,
And the
baby.
seats are yeah, you're right. We should just got 2 single seats and then just wave to each other as the movie starts and we enjoy it and then we meet up afterwards and go have our steaks.
When you
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
were in high school going to movies with your friends, did you ever do the thing where you buy the seats with one empty seat in between so that you could have both armrests to yourselves?
I did not we didn't have those when I was in high school. Like I don't
Or
at least-
college then, just later.
Oh, maybe. No, I never did that. We always
Yeah, I
got
don't-
in free to our movies, remember? Because we knew the security guard. So we
Oh,
never
because you
paid.
snuck in and didn't support the industry. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Look where we're at now,
We were-
Chris.
I know. I single-handedly ruined Hollywood.
Hollywood is no more.
Look, man, I was poor. We'd go in there. I'd go in the trash, find an XL popcorn thing because they had free refills, and
Pray you didn't get stuck in the chair on your way
load
out.
up. Yeah. Oh, dude, don't even get me. Like I'm surprised that I would even go into a movie theater after a traumatic experience like that. But
Near death experience.
exactly, it's very big of me and brave. Now, but I did watch Twisters. It's on Peacock.
I did too.
Yeah, me too.
I watched it the first night or maybe the second night, but that was on my calendar I didn't put it on the water cooler calendar, but that was on my calendar for several weeks in advance.
It's okay. Matt did, and that's what reminded me. Now, I loved it.
I did too.
I absolutely
was-
loved it.
Absolutely fantastic. Formulaic, sure, but it's Twisters. What do you want it to be?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's Twisters. Come
if it
on.
had not been Twisters, I would have been very mad, even if it was good. But it was Twisters, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
I
And
thought it was entertaining. I was
Oh.
not totally blown away, but I still enjoyed it.
I know it's no
I think the
Citizen
first one
Kane,
is
no
just-
Matt.
I don't know. Part of it didn't feel as authentic to me, but I still appreciated it.
I thought it was one of the more authentic blockbusters in a long time. But I wonder if it's because it kind of still felt like it still felt kind of like the old Twister, like it had the same font, of course, and the thing. And they filmed it on 35 millimeter film, which
Yeah.
you never see anymore. And I was wondering, I kind of felt like, why does this look different? And then I looked it up, and yeah, he actually filmed it on film,
There you go.
which is yeah, and that it's a nice look. It's a nice look. So.
I will say they've updated the special effects since the original, so that was a welcome change.
You know what's a crazy story about the first one is what's the director's name, Matt?
Jean de Bon.
Jean de Bon, who
Guided Speed.
is like the
God bless him.
craziest mother effer to work with. I heard like the crew quit during production of Twister 1. By the way, another fun fact about Twister is first DVD release. First movie released on DVD. Yeah.
Wow.
I believe. But I guess like he was so hard to work with, and he blinded Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt with like these crazy lights, and they were blind for like 3 days.
I've heard that story as well. And, not to shit on your point, Gary, about the tornadoes looking a lot better in the new movie, which is true. I do miss the fact that the original one, there are certain scenes where they're just like throwing giant chunks of like tree branches and oil drums, and they're just throwing it at the actors. Like that's real props and stuff, and it's not just CGI stuff. I like seeing a piece of a tree slapping up against the windshield as it's coming over the car, and understanding that that's like a real object that did that and not just some CGI thing.
Sure, but then you have to deal with the scene where we've got cows.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
again, I was missing the cows. I spent the entire movie. Spoiler alert: there's no cows in Twisters.
I was hopeful that we would
They
get a
blew
cow. I mean, we did kind of need that homage. I also, I mean, if we're being picky about it, 8 inches of like curled, like, you know, corkscrewed steel is really just eliminated the twister. Like the twister is no longer a concern. Like I
did
just
like
feel
that.
like
They could just hang in there. I liked it too. What something that was confusing. Sorry for anybody who hasn't watched Twisters yet, but it's been on my mind. Having seen Twister so many times, the F5 is just like the craziest
Vegeta scale
tornado. But then in this one, they kept calling it the EF5, and it's like that. It just kept throwing me off. Like,
yeah, that was bothering
do we
me
just
too.
change the names and we're not gonna address it? We're not gonna say anything.
Yeah, that was bothering me too. But you know, I just assumed, I haven't looked it up, that the name changed in science, and that at the time F5 was the correct thing to call it, and now that they've named it something differently.
Yeah.
But I, you know, like I said, it bothered me, it bumped me for sure, but I didn't care to go look it up. I just want that movie to exist the way it exists.
I know it's
the
like
original. Sorry, I was going to say the original is another one of those movies like Air Force One that I saw 6 or 7 times in a row in theaters in subsequent days, because when I would go on my vacation, that was the only thing there was to do at night, was go to the movies, and you know, I would just watch the same movie over and over again.
Nice.
That's what you have to do. The Matt's like when you call, what do you call STDs? STDs or STIs? Because you're the one that says it the most out of all of us.
What the fuck? I guess STDs.
See, but I don't think that's what it is anymore. I think it's STIs now.
Yeah.
Wow,
See?
I feel you learn something new every day. Jesus Christ.
You're gonna have to update your blog because I saw you posted them last night.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's just so it's like it's all these new
How
ways
is
of
Fondlier's
measurements.
Follies Cummings, by the way?
Uh-oh. Dude, people have made websites we've talked about. So we can be
That's
careful.
true.
Yeah, it's STIs now.
By the way, did we bankrupt Kathy?
No, she's around.
Okay. I just haven't heard her name in quite a while.
No, she's a comment that I'm going to read.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I previewed the comments today.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Doing math, previewing comments. What's gotten into you, Chris?
You're a brand
it's
new
almost
man.
like you had plans for 4 hours on Sunday that got canceled.
I know. I want to hear. I mean, I think Kaylin feels really bad about it. And
Well, he should. And when he comes back on, we're going to have to go over some of Jenny's questions because they're so wildly fair that I think that I need some answers too. How? Why? Under what circumstances
I
does your
have a
phone
theory.
default to Arizona?
I have a theory.
I have a
Let's hear
theory
it.
too.
So Kaylin's laptop, maybe his dad gave it to him or something. Like something about his dad living in Arizona. Has it programmed
Okay.
to Arizona, like a location in Arizona. So he goes and clicks buy tickets to, I don't know.
All right. We lost your audio for half of that theory, but yeah, that's a reasonable theory.
I just assumed
hadn't
after he
considered
gave
that
up his
he's,
quarters
his
project
dad-
that he's lost all sense of geography
Well,
and
you
the
know,
state
he is
map.
still looking for that 54th state.
Yeah.
I unfortunately had to decline Kaylin's very nice offer. Now I'm glad I did, but after spending 6 or 7 hours playing golf with Chris all day on Saturday, on Sunday I always have reasonable doubt. I did not think it wise to tell my wife that I would be abandoning my wife and son to then spend 3.5 more hours at least going to a feature film in the theater without them.
Yeah.
So now I'm feeling far less FOMO that Kaylin screwed this up, but yeah, man, we had a grand old time golfing, and it's always fun to get a chance to spend time with Chris. You know, I obviously really enjoyed the weekend that we got to spend together. That was a treat, and hopefully we'll have more occasions to do stuff like that. You know, as time goes on.
Totally agree. I wish I was there to hang out with you guys. I am going to be back in LA very briefly for the holidays with my
here
family.
we go.
Oh,
Here
here's
it
Chris.
comes.
Here it
There's
is.
Chris. He's back.
Here it
At least he's
comes.
not lying about it this time, Chris. Remember the few
Exactly.
times that Matt came back and tried to lie and not tell us that he was going to be in LA?
You know, I think
And he
about
got
that,
discovered.
and we caught him, and we had a really good time about it. But
It
Matt,
just hurt.
like there was pain behind Matt's eyes. Like I could tell like he felt really bad. Like to the point where I was getting bummed out teasing him so much because I thought like it was like really starting to really bum him out.
I was not. I was legitimately upset, and I wanted him to feel all of the discomfort that he was feeling. I was fine with the fact that it was affecting him because
I realized
those shenanigans were uncalled for, sir.
Well, the theory back then was there was no time to see anybody, so why even bother mentioning it? But then I realized how fucking weird it is to not mention it, which is why I'm mentioning it.
So how long are you coming out for this time?
Basically like 4 days, but 2 of them we're going to be doing, our Christmas morning with the family. So those are pretty much locked off.
You guys do Christmas morning for 2 days?
No, but
Jewish.
we do family activities. Yeah, exactly. We're Jewish, Gary, don't you know?
Yeah.
But
Matt's
we
gotta
get
go
Christmas
get
Eve
his
stuff
hibachi.
and Christmas Day stuff.
Matt's got to go get his hibachi steak and shrimp or steak and lobster. What's the order again, Matt?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. Some fucking Tepon. Oh my
Tepon.
God, I didn't even think about that. Wait a minute. We don't have Tepon planned this year. I got to talk to my family. We got to do some
gosh.
reorganizing here.
See, this is why you tell us that you're coming, because your
Yeah.
friends will help you and save you from missing out on family traditions that people may have forgotten because you moved away and abandoned them.
That's very true.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Matt? Are you doing the Friendsgiving over there?
Yep. Same house I've been going to ever since we moved out here.
The rocket scientist?
No.
Oh.
Not my buddy with the pool that we hang out with during the summer. Well, we hang out all year, but especially in the summertime.
What are you guys going to be bringing this year? Because I remember some dish shenanigans in past years.
Yeah, there was a horrendous year where they made fish soup, which was one of the all-time worst decisions, I think, on any Thanksgiving day anywhere on the planet. But that was a few years ago. They have since remedied it. So this year there's going to be some steak and some ham. Those are the 2 main courses, which I feel pretty solid.
Hey, Chris, you can just save your breath on love it. You are squarely on the record on loving fish soup on this podcast. It's lore. It is part of the
I think I
canon.
need to just
Everyone knows
refresh.
that you are pro fish soup.
Yeah, I just need to refresh every once in a while. Matt, I made ham bone soup the other day. I mentioned this.
Oh, yeah?
Wonderful. Wonderful. You should get that bone.
Wait, how does one make that?
You take the bone of the ham, you throw it in the pressure cooker, put some beans on there. I recommend the Great Northern Bean. Don't get the regular Northern Bean. Get the great one.
The great ones.
And
I will say that the pro tip for anyone who does the honey baked ham at all this holiday season is they make a ham bone soup like additive that you just buy when you pick up the ham, and you just dump the bone in, you dump the contents of that package in, you got a stew, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I just did that chicken broth, not with the I seasoned it all myself, but it was awesome. Like it was so flavorful. I got gout the next day, but it was worth it. Like it's,
That's right.
yeah, ham bone. Get that bone, man. I hear like that's a thing people do. Like they'll buy hams for all their friends, but with the stipulation that you got to get that bone back to me though, so I can make some bone soup. Yeah. So
Ham bone soup's great.
get the bones, Matt. It's very flavorful stuff. I mean, I don't need to tell you, Shay. I'm just
yeah. Oh, I don't. You don't need to tell me exactly.
Heard, chef. Heard.
But yeah, it should be fun. My buddy, last couple of years, has bought a very nice bottle of whiskey that ends up getting opened up about partway through the night, and we're gonna bring some board games and stuff, and it should be a fun time.
That's a good time. I love everything about Friendsgiving except the name.
Smirking for it, Gary.
I don't know. Just the highlight of the board games is just fucking nerd.
What? I like a good group game. Come on.
I'm aware. We're all well aware. just like Chris doesn't need to highlight fish soup is something he's
true.
with. You're on the record on board games. Which ones are you bringing this year, Matt? I know. Don't pretend you don't know. It's
I guess I misspoke. It's not
not
technically a board game. It's a drawing game, much like a Pictionary. It's called Telestrations. Are you guys familiar with it?
Very
I feel
fun.
like I brought it up. I brought it up before.
But
there's going to be 8 people there, and you can play up to 8 players, and it's rare that we actually have 8 people to play that game with. So I said we should bring it.
yeah, if you got the max players, it's like having a full poker table. It's just
Yep.
more fun.
For people who don't know, it's kind of a combination of Pictionary and telephone, where each person has a designated picture that they draw, and then you pass it to the next person, and they guess what they think it's a picture of, and then they draw their version of what they think it is. And by the time it gets to the eighth person, it is absolutely nothing like what the original guess was, and or what the original drawing was. It's so much fun.
It's a game of telephone, but yeah, for it's not auditory.
It's Pictionary. Yeah, Matt just went through this.
I was gonna say something a lot more offensive, and I decided not to. Matt, what would it take for you? Let's say you were like drawer number 5.
Yeah.
In the mix. For when it comes to you, you just draw penis.
No, Matt's a rule follower. Matt's not going to sully his board game that he has brought to this party.
There's a price. Every man has a price.
Here's what I'll say. If there is a way that I could cleverly pass it off, like if the previous picture, I actually could find a way to make it seem like that is maybe what I thought it is, I don't think it'd take that much money at all.
Wow.
I think I'd do it for free, in fact.
If you do it, I would like a text in Nerdle, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
Chris has just solicited Matt to send us dick pics on Thanksgiving.
One that he drew.
Even still.
Yeah.
We'll see if it
go
happens.
with my mashed potatoes.
It would make me very happy. You guys do some comments?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Let's go.
Now it's time for listener
All right, and I'm going to read some comments. This first group of comments is from our Facebook group, and all you have to do to join our Facebook group is go to this website, facebook.com/groups/Bobo Army Worldwide LLC. You answer a few questions, and we might let you in. My favorite place on the net. Let's go. This first comment I have is from a very lovely young woman, Kathy Lowry.
Hey.
Kathy.
What's up?
She writes, it's she's just setting a scene. It's like a little script here. Exterior or interior taco shop. My mom says, "Un burrito de carnitas sin cebollas." Then I say, "Okay, Gary." And my mom says, "Huh? Did you call me Gary? Who is Gary?" And then that's what she wrote. So there you go, Kathy. It's great to hear from you.
I like that. Hey, Kathy.
That's so good.
Yeah, but your mom got to get the cebollas. Cebollas are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be my order today. It just was at the time we were frequenting. No, that would
become a
definitely
man.
happen. Yeah. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I went and got fajitas last night. I asked for extra onions.
Oh my God. Love it.
I like that.
Come around.
Let's see. Tony Magbanua. He was listening to episode 69 plus 69 plus 52, where we were recapping the 2019 cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Dawson says there's audio of all of the karaoke contest. Was that audio ever released? If not, can it be? Hashtag karaoke tier. Hashtag KKJ.
No, it cannot.
Yeah,
We can't because it's all copyrighted music, Tony. So we don't want to, we don't want to get in trouble with, all the big time music publishers, UMG.
we can't even
Universal.
do Gary from the Blockbuster without getting fucking demonetized.
That's right. So
That's like a 3-second drop.
But man, what a fun, crazy event. I remember I worked that entire event to where I remember we had so many like different things going on that I had to run, and it almost drove me nuts. Like we had to play movies. Every event was ran by me. For some reason, they just put it on me. And
There's one thing that wasn't run by you.
what was it?
Adam and Drew.
That was the one thing. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like I was I remember just not having a minute for anything, and I had a great time with everybody there. But overall, I was just like exhausted
overworked, for
and
sure.
overworked and overwhelmed. But we had to put on a karaoke show, and we got right before the event. They said that the karaoke machine wasn't available, and we had to get.
When Chris
creative.
says right before, the event was starting at 8, and we were given this information at about 7:54.
Yeah, the line.
People
There's
were
a
already
line.
in the room.
Yeah. And we had to get creative, so we figured it out. We got the crowd riled up, and luckily for us, everybody on the
Chris
cruise,
did the whole thing with mouth licks.
I did. I mouth licked. I just went up there and mouth licked a whole set, and had people sing over it.
Yeah.
But the people there were awesome, and they made it a lot easier. Like it's just the all the listeners of the pods and the people who want to be involved and the people who sang. I remember Dr. Drew sang, Gina sang. Like it all worked out really well. So I actually couldn't have planned it any better than it turned out. So it's like a real big highlight of that cruise. And you'll never get to hear it, Tony.
I think we got to say the mouth lick thing is a bit, because I can already see someone saying, like, if you mouth licked it, then that's not copywritten. That's, so settle down. You're never hearing it, Tony.
Sorry, Tony. Charles Leto, Jared's brother.
Hey, Charles.
He says, if he asks the group, if you wanted to introduce someone to the water cooler, what episode would you pick?
Bird Box.
You would pick Bird Box, Gary? You just go straight for
Bird Box or Lake Arrowhead?
Well,
Terrible.
I'll read
Terrible
some of the
choices.
I'll read some of the
guys,
choices.
you got to understand my logic here. It's all uphill from there. If they can get through that and get on to the next one, they're going to be like, holy shit, we're cooking with fire, baby.
Yeah, Jacob Morales says the Lake Arrowhead show for sure.
Yeah.
And Matthew chimed in, if you don't love them at their Arrowhead, you don't deserve them at their Hunger Dome, which is it's pretty funny.
I still remember at the Lake Arrowhead show, right as we were about to go out, somebody backstage who worked at the venue was like, said something positive to us, like break a leg or something. And I responded like, settle down. Let's we're not, no.
I still have not listened back just for fear of having to relive that trauma.
I'm terrified. I would never listen back to that.
Katie Jenks says the practically starving semicircle. I often have flashbacks to the specific locations where I was listening to those episodes because they were just that memorable.
Well, thank you, Katie. There definitely were some great parts of that whole food competition for sure.
Yeah. So Alvaro Zaragoza says he loved the Dibs saga.
Sure.
A lot of people saying Hunger Dome. Eric Jenks said Hunger Dome or Bird Box, Gary. So same thing, same as you. Casey Peters just wrote not Lake Arrowhead. I would be insulted, but I actually agree with that very much. So yeah, everybody chimed in, and it's very sweet. So I
do think Hunger Dome might be kind of the real answer. I just, when I think back, the Hunger Dome time period was some of the hardest I ever laughed.
It would be in your best interest to do shows when we were actually all in a studio together, because that you can understand what the dynamic is supposed to be. That we still tried to create here, but
and it was
a lot
after
different back then.
It was at the end of a work day.
Yeah, exactly. It was the middle of the afternoon. We weren't that drunk yet.
Did anyone say the We Ride at Dawn episode? Because that's at the end of a work career.
Buzzing.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of these old episodes, we do have a "This Is How You Remind Me" clip.
Oh sure.
Let's do it.
So, sorry.
And that was the wrong intro.
That was. So I'll play the intro and then Matt will set it up.
This is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of the podcast we had.
All right, so bringing this back around to synchronicities, which is kind of how we started the show, talking about Chris bringing up some random, deep psychological experiment thought that he had, and then it turns out that somebody else pulls out an object that's exactly the same phrase of what you've just been using. I'm completely fascinated by this stuff, and I just happened to be scanning for a clip to play for this very segment, which again, our archives are all available if you want to go back and listen to it. The whole episode is episode number 312, which was entitled Spearmint, Music Shaming, and money for gifts. But let's listen to this clip and a very strange synchronicity that happened to us back in the day. Watch these channels on my own, nor would I ever watch commercials on my own.
Sorry, I made
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you did that, because I forgot to say that the lead up to this is we were talking about how it's basically when the three of us were all working at Corolla, we would always sit in that front room and there would always be TV on in between the shows that we were recording. And oftentimes you guys would just flip back and forth between CNN and Fox.
Yeah.
Because we had to kind of stay up to date on whatever politics of the day were happening so that we'd be prepared for the show. So that is kind of...
I will say that Fox was usually flipped to if Adam was not confined in a recording studio, because if he swung by while CNN was on, we were in for a lecture. And if he swung by while Fox was on, he was going to quietly watch. So,
all right. So now that this is how you remind me clip, it begins with me talking about how strange it is to watch back and forth these two channels. Now, I would never watch these channels on my own, nor would I ever watch commercials on my own. But one of the other things that happens when you're watching CNN and Fox is you see a lot of commercials.
Crazy, weird commercials.
Now, Gary and I were in the middle of a conversation when a certain commercial popped on that Gary's going to play for you right now.
Okay.
Ray loves vacations, but his diabetes never seemed to take one.
This is
Everything
CNN.
felt like a no. Everything. But then Ray went from no to no.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Can you believe that?
Dude.
Gary and I just looked at each other. I'm like, did he just say no to no?
Yep.
No or no?
Oh my God.
It has reached the mainstream, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we could have done that. That could have just been us. Those could have been those diabetes people could have been water cooler listeners.
That could have been. You never know. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. And
never know or no.
Or no, exactly. But yeah, I did have another really weird day of synchronicity that happened to me actually yesterday. And
do we need another intro for this?
Yeah, sure. It's an excuse to play the News Nook intro.
You're listening to News Nook with Matt Fondelier.
All right. So this is usually the conspiracy corner, but I'm going to kind of back this into what Chris was talking about, simulation theory, because I'm starting to think that synchronicity is a thing that's maybe similar to like a deja vu. Like we experience deja vu pretty often. It's super weird. I don't know if this happens to you guys regularly. How often do you guys experience deja vu?
I would say once, maybe every 2 to 3 months. I kind of just have this weird feeling.
That's
I was
going
to say once a quarter. I agree.
Okay. And then have you guys noticed things like what I'm talking about, like synchronicity, where you kind of experience one thing and then that same thing comes up in another way later on in the day or in a short enough period of time where you kind of go like, that is fucking weird that both of those things happen at the same time.
Sure.
Right. So I don't know if these two, I'm sure that they're not related, but I kind of am starting to think of them in the same terms. Like it's just something that I'm going to feel or recognize once every couple of months. There's just going to be some weird synchronistic thing. So this past Sunday, my wife and I were trying to figure out something to watch. Didn't really know what to put on. So we put on the original Pink Panther from the 1960s. Peter Sellers does not hold up very well. I'm sorry to say. It's not very good.
It's no twisters.
But in this movie, toward the end, a person wearing a gorilla suit features prominently in the last third of this movie. Then the next thing we put on is this random Australian comedy called Colin from Accounts. It's on Paramount Plus. It's a brand new show. It's hilarious. I highly recommend it. We're in the middle of season 2. And in the episode that we were watching, one of the characters is wearing a gorilla suit. And we both looked at each other and we're like, what the fuck? Like, what are the odds of seeing this gorilla suit twice in one day when you don't really see that in media very often? It's kind of like an old cliche. Then the next thing that I put on is Deadpool versus Wolverine after Julia's gone to bed. And I'm curious who directed this movie. And it's this guy named Sean Levy. And what else did Sean Levy direct but the remake of Pink Panther starring Steve Martin?
freaking
again,
crazy.
I know this is like a who gives a shit kind of story to you guys, but that kind of thing just
love
blows my fucking mind. That's so bizarre. How does that happen?
Dude.
Well, not exactly falling in line with your thing, but somewhat similar. You may not have seen this, Matt, because it's a little bit outside of your current geographical location. But Chris, you may have seen the news story recently about the people in Lake Arrowhead who dressed up in a bear suit.
Oh yeah,
and damaged a bunch of their cars in an attempt to extort money from an insurance company. And that's been prominent around me because all of the offenders are from the same.
They're being
community.
represented by Garrigus.
They're not being represented, but they are all they're all Armenian, so they are all sort of in his wheelhouse. So that's been going around the law firm.
The claw marks were a little too clean, Matt. Like straight up, just like they looks like they took a ruler and just put like four 4 lines. It's like, come on, guys.
All right, so let me bring back and round out my conspiracy theory here. I'm starting to think now. I'm starting to realize that the world that we live in of advertising and the algorithm, they have hijacked this experience because now all your devices are listening to you. And so you have a conversation about something, and then you look on your computer later, and oh my God, that thing that we were just talking about, now I'm seeing it. Now I should go buy it. So now this is now like crazy, going back to what you were saying, Chris, about how this is all maybe a simulation. Couldn't one argue then that like the universe itself is this same type of algorithmic device that's listening to what you're saying and then presenting you with similar things?
That's a good way to put it, because
certainly possible.
Yeah. And
anyway,
but you're
blows
right.
my mind to think about it that way. It's weird.
But it also, you're right too, that we're getting desensitized to this phenomenon because of targeted ads and phones listening. That when it does happen, like analog, organically, maybe it loses its effect to a lot of people. But I love it, man. It's freaking crazy.
Well, that was News Nook. Facts don't mean shit here.
If this was Patreon, we would play.
That's right.
Even for News Nook?
It's such a good outro. It's such
All
a good
right,
outro.
That was News Nook with Matt Fondelier. Outro.
All righty. Well, I guess there's no better way to end the show than with some News Nook. So we'll go around the horn, get our plugs in, and then we'll record some Patreon for everybody. So I will start with Gary. Gary, this Thanksgiving week, what are you thankful for, and what do you suggest people check out?
Well, I'm thankful for both of you. I'm thankful for Chris's math, and I'm thankful for Matt's jokes. I am not so thankful for Kaylin's computer, and
we don't know what happened. I honestly think he feel like that conversation ended with "I'm an idiot and I'm so sorry." No text back after that. So like he could. I don't know what his state of mind is right now.
I will say, I thought the donation I made on Chris's behalf to the food bank was a little bit more generous than inviting him to something and then not taking him. But, to each his own. But I'm thankful for all of you, and I'm thankful for everyone who listens. I'm especially thankful for the people who subscribe to our Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/watercooler. We announced last week, but I'll just do it one more time here, that the meetup is going to be pushed into the first week of December. So probably get a couple of meetups in December, and we're going to do a movie night as well on the Austin, Texas football program, or whatever Matt incorrectly called them.
What do you know?
So patreon.com/watercooler. It's a great way to support us, and it really does mean a lot to us. We obviously have fun doing this show, but it's really cool that we've been able to sort of turn it into a little monetary bump for us as well, because it really helps. None of us are exactly Rockefellers over here. So we love you, and we take it very seriously, and we look forward to not only the next episode, but all the ones to come in the rest of the year.
Love it. And I forgot to even mention this. Yeah, Gary, there's one of the par threes during the scramble. Guys, like, if you donate to the food bank and you land on the green on this like long par three, then you get a free beer. Gary,
and if you land in the circle, which is like 3 feet on every side of the hole, you get a free round of golf.
Yeah, Gary paid. Only one to land it on the green, and freaking
wow,
it was beautiful.
I've told you guys before, that was back on your show, Resume, Chris, when we talked about jobs that we had before we got to work for Corolla. One of the things that I did was work for like a sales guy that tried to lure golfers in for like a hole-in-one competition. Kind of like, it was not charitable at all. It was like, give us money, and if you land on the green, you can get XYZ, and if you get it in the hole, hole-in-one, then you get, $1,000 or whatever the fuck it was. And it was over a fucking lake hole, and there was just no one ever landed on the green. It was just an absolute cash grab.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, Matt, that I did not successfully land on the green in my first attempt, but I had a mulligan. The way we were playing in our scramble, everyone had a mulligan that they were able to use, and I decided to use mine on that hole because I was not giving up $20 to the food bank and getting 0 beers out of it. I was
Gary, you don't have to tell
how was
the
that beer,
mulligan
by the
thing.
way?
How
was that beer, by the way, Chris?
It's very good. Yeah, Gary gave me the ticket. And yeah,
Look at that. What a good guy.
Quite tasty. Got a very nice domestic can of Coors Banquet. So thank you.
Classy. Coors Banquet. For Christ's sake, we're donating to the food bank here, folks. Give me an IPA or a freaking lager.
Twas delicious. Matt, what can we check out for you? And what are you thankful for?
Well, I'll just say I'm very thankful for the health of my family at present. Everyone's still doing pretty good, which is great. Obviously, really thankful for this podcast specifically. It's helped keep me grounded week after week talking to you guys. And on a personal note, I'll also just say this has been a pretty damn good year for me career-wise, so I feel pretty thankful for that. Hopefully keep the momentum going into the new year. And despite all that, we still definitely need your support on Patreon. So patreon.com/watercooler. If you want to hear the second half of this podcast, highly recommend it if you enjoyed the first half.
Love it. And then as for me, I am thankful for, yes, the guys who do the show with, even the two that aren't here. And then all the listeners too, and all the people who are just a part of the show, this whole community that has been built. It's unbelievable. And I just love being a part of it. So thank you. And I feel
like I just have to say for anyone who's watching on the video tier that while Matt was giving his very heartfelt plug and, being very, very thankful, the Baltimore Ravens ripped off a 60-yard run and scored a touchdown against the Chargers. So that's why my face is
Oh, that's why.
It's got nothing to do with Matt's plug whatsoever. I'm actually watching a replay of it right now.
I was like, what did I say?
No, you didn't say anything. I've been stealthily watching the game while we record this podcast, and I think that
are you offended by that, Chris?
Only if I could tell. Like Dawson, I could tell when he does it.
Yeah.
Gary's pretty good.
Yeah, what? What do we do? What?
I haven't been staring at the TV like Dawson.
No, you've been good. I had no idea.
Very small browser window going right next to you guys, so it never really looks like I'm watching it. But somebody rips off a 60-yard run, that's going to catch my attention.
Yeah.
So
it was weird when Chris was telling his gladiator story. You just threw both of your hands up in the air. That was bizarre.
It's like I used to play. I mean, I still gig sometimes when there's like sports in the background, and like sometimes when it's a really big game on, everyone just starts cheering. And for a split second, I'm like, oh, they like that guitar lick. But nope, they didn't care about me.
Freddie Freeman hit a grand slam.
Yeah. And then as for plug, check out Patreon, check out Loxy Music online, and we'll see you later this week. We love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Gobble gobble. Goodbye. Oh, come on.